Herzlich willkommen zu unserem englischsprachigen Axinocapital TV. Heute habe ich Luke Reiner zu Gast. Er ist CEO des australischen Gold Explorers Kalamazoo Resources. Die Gesellschaft ist im brandheißen Victoria Goldfield aktiv, wo die beste Goldmine sich befindet. Diese wird vom kanadischen Goldproduzenten Kirkland-Lake betrieben und heißt Fosterville Gold Mine. Warum ist diese Mine so interessant? Ja, 30-40 Gramm Gold pro Tonne in einer Tiefe von ca. 1000 Meter kann die Mine vorweisen und hat demnach die besten Produktionsraten vorzuweisen. Das ist auch der Grund, warum jetzt so viele Explorationsgesellschaften in diesem Victoria Goldfields aktiv sind und nach der zweiten oder neuen Fosterville-Mine suchen und hoffentlich auch finden. Das ist sicherlich auch der Grund, warum Eric-Sprott und Novo-Resources jeweils 4 Millionen australische Dollar in Kalamazoo Resources investiert haben, und zwar im Januar 2020. Es gibt, wie gesagt, andere Explorer, aber wir wollen wissen, warum Kalamazoo gerade hier am richtigen Platz zum richtigen Zeitpunkt ist und was die Investoren sich von dieser Gesellschaft für weitere Aktivitäten und Bohrungen schlichtweg erwarten können. Bleiben Sie dran. Look, welcome to our axinocapital TV show. I would like to dig straight into Kalamazoo's last press release regarding the completion of the first drill program at your Castlemaine gold project in Australia. Could you please explain the results, please?
Yeah, thank you very much, Wolfgang, for the opportunity to have a bit of a chat. I think we caught up last in about early March, actually in Germany, and I think we were right in the middle of our drill campaign at that stage. The drill campaign finished on the 31st of March. We drilled about 14 holes for just less than 5,000 metres. Fortunately, we weren't impacted at all by the horrible events that are happening around the world at the moment with COVID-19. Yep. Here in Australia, we've been very fortunate. We haven't had widespread infections, and the deaths have actually been quite low, which has been very fortunate for us. Part of that reason is that the Australian government locked down very harsh and very quickly. But fortunately for us, being in the mining industry is such a big part of Australia's economy that it was considered to be essential industry. So that being the case, we haven't been impacted at all, other than the fact, of course, we're having to operate to very strict protocols in regard to COVID-19. But that meant that we could finish our drill campaign. We got some really high-grade intersections, especially early. However, these intersections, even though very high-grade, they didn't, in effect, stitch together. The widths weren't sufficient enough, combined with historical high grades, for us to actually be confident that we would actually meet our target, which is a minimum of 1 million ounces of gold at 10 grams or more. But that's okay, because this is just the first of 10 prospects that we've identified in our northern tenement, and we've got a lot more to do. So we've learned a lot from this first campaign. It's been good for us. We haven't been impacted by COVID-19 at all. So we do the work and we go to the next one.
So the target of the 1 million ounces at an average of 10 grams per ton, that's still the target, right? And it has not changed. It's just your first drill program in an area which has not been as exciting maybe as you have thought or you have expected, but still the strategy is the same.
Absolutely. It's very much our strategy. I think, as you'd appreciate, and your shareholders and people who are interested, is that we're in a very prospective and sought after gold province, not just in Australia, but globally. Made famous, of course, by Kirkland Lake and the Fosterville gold mine. It's, I think, 6 or 7 million ounces now, operating and producing about, I think, close to 600,000 to 700,000 ounces per annum at a very high grade. So we're looking for a 1 million ounce plus deposit. It's a big prize and it's going to take a lot of work, but that's what we're clearly focused on.
Yeah, but that's what we want to see. Look, Kalamazoo has applied for new exploration licenses as well, and those are adjacent to the highly prospective project to further increase its tenure at the Castlemaine gold project. Could you please explain what that means for investors?
Yeah, thanks, Wolfgang. We applied I think it was in January this year, for a tenement, and I think it's about 22 square kilometres. It's called the Queen's, or we've called it the Queen's project. It's on the eastern boundary of our Castlemaine project, and it's to the north and south of another prospect, which is owned by a company called GBM. And GBM, interestingly, had Novo-Resources invest, I think it was $6 million to earn a 60% interest, or might have been $8 million over a period of time. Again, very hot area. It's in along strike one of the main structures that go up and down there. It's called the Taradale Fault. We think it's a good area, but that's why we've taken that Queen's prospect as well. So I think Novo getting involved as well, just further validation of what we're doing. And then alongside the Queen's tenement and GBM, there's another Canadian company called Fosterville South that has just listed on the TSX.
Yes.
I think it's got a market cap now of about $80 million. It's a new company. Its tenements are to our side. It doesn't have, obviously, the historical gold that's been produced out of Castlemaine and South Muckleford, our two projects. But it's still, it looks an interesting project. And again, further validation. I understand our friend Eric-Sprott has also invested in Fosterville South. So it just shows that this is a very hot area.
Yes, I have seen that, Luca. But the question for our investors is who has the best tenements? And I have read in your press release that you are awaiting additional advice on the tender bids for Block 4 and 3 of the North Central Victorian Goldfield. Is that the hottest area, or who has the best licenses already in the portfolio?
Yeah, well, I think we've always said that if you're going to find another Fosterville or world-class deposit, Castlemaine is probably the best place to start because it's considered to be the world's richest alluvial or shallow goldfield, produced about 5.6 million ounces in the 19th century. So we think it's a very prospective area. That gold's come from somewhere. So fortunately for us, we're only about 40 k's away from, or 40 kilometres from Fosterville. So we think we're in a pretty good area, and we're very comfortable with the projects we've picked up and which we're exploring and drilling on today. In regard to Kirkland Lake and that the land tender, yes, there were 4 blocks that were put up there, and these were 4 blocks pretty much surrounding the Fosterville gold mine. And at the most southern area, they're only about 10 or 15 kilometres from our Castlemaine northern border. So again, it's the right area, right geology as well. It's common knowledge we've bid for blocks 3 and 4. A couple of other Victorian gold companies have also bid for a couple of those, including, I think, Catalyst, which has got a market cap of about $250 million. Chalice, which has now got a market cap of, I think, $320 million because of, some other projects it's got as well. Ourselves, Navarre. But on top of that, of course, there are major gold companies and explorers who have all expressed interest. We're not aware of the other ones who've actually put their names up. They haven't come up public, but we'll be very interested to see how that plays out. What we do say, and we've said from day one, is that we expect the competition to be very intense. But we're a local company. We meet most of the requirements. We're well funded now. Got the support of Eric-Sprott and Dr. Hemi, who are key players in the early identification and development of Kirkland Lake and the Fosterville gold mine. So we think we're very well placed, and we'll see how it plays out. The one thing I will say, though, is that the government was expected to announce the results of the tender in late April or early May. Unfortunately, because of COVID-19 and the constraints they're under, they've pushed back that decision date by a couple of months. So we now expect it to be in the second half of this year.
But it must be excited if there are still some tenements around the Fosterville gold mine. I have read that you have applied to the south of the mine and some others to the north. So is that a little bit of a question who is betting on the best ground?
I guess so. I guess the southern ground was pretty well taken and been pegged or applied for. The area to the north, where we've got our friends Catalyst and Chalice, they're exploring there, but they're exploring under cover, which is the Murray Basin sediments, which could be up to 50 or 100 meters. So that's hard exploration, except they're getting some great results. And what it does, I think, is just supports that the Victorian goldfields and the Bendigo zone extends both north and south. It's a little bit harder to explore up north, but there are big prizes there as well. So look, we hope everyone's successful, and that they're all finding world-class mines, because it's good for Victoria and it's good for the Australian gold industry as well.
Look, you have mentioned Eric-Sprott and listed Novo-Resources as major shareholders and supporters. So with 11.6 million cash on the bank account, I think you don't have to raise any capital this year, and could continue with your additional drill programs in 2020. Is that a correct understanding? And when would you start with your second drill program?
Yes, Wolfgang. So we have about $11.5 million cash in the bank, and some receivables from a project we sold. And we also have about $5 million of options or warrants that are in the money over the next 12 months. So we would expect that they will be exercised as well. So funding wise, I think we're in a very good position. Our next drill program, we would expect certainly in maybe Q3 or Q4 of this year. We're currently undergoing a very extensive soil sampling program at Castlemaine, at South Muckleford as well. I think we're taking over 4,000 soil samples, which we're working in conjunction with the CSIRO. And this will help us identify our next targets, our drill targets. So as soon as we've completed that work, and that's well and truly underway now, that'll enable us then to finalise our next drill targets. Funding wise, yeah, look, to give an example, if you did another 10,000 metre diamond drill campaign at $250 a metre, that'd be about $2.5 million. That would be a big campaign. So we're well and truly funded. However, having said that, there's also, we have some projects in the Pilbara, which you might be familiar with, including some along strike from De Grey, who have had a major discovery up at Hemi. We've got a project called the Sisters there. We're also doing soils and other work up there at the moment. And we'll probably be drilling there within the next couple of months as well. So we've got our two groups of portfolio of projects, obviously Victoria, which is our key focus, but also our projects in the Pilbara, which we think are very prospective, and we're looking to add to it all the time.
That's good to me. Look, I shouldn't say that I'm happy on the recent drop in your share price after the press release. Axino is also a shareholder, but our investor community always has a disadvantage if a stock is going up too quickly, right? Which has happened when Eric-Sprott wrote you a $4 million check, and that was in January. However, what is your advice to investors who are following the recent exploration excitement in the world-class Victorian goldfield? Is that now a good time to buy into your company, because the stock is roughly trading at Eric-Sprott's entry level? Would you agree on that?
Yeah, it's certainly now at that price. It had almost doubled at one stage. And look, I think a lot of potential shareholders had thought, to your point, that they'd missed the boat, and that the ship had sailed, and the value was too high. But I guess fortunately for those shareholders, maybe not for ourselves, COVID-19 and obviously world economy has had an impact on our share price. Share price, as you said, now is trading around about the same price that Eric-Sprott and Novo-Resources invested in. So I think timing-wise, for any prospective shareholders, it's a very good juncture. However, having said that, I think that the timing to actually invest is very good now. We're well funded. We've got drill programs about to happen again. We've got the prospectivity of potentially being successful on the land tender, drilling in Victoria and over in the Pilbara. We think we're very well placed.
Sounds like you have a great portfolio, Luke. Thank you very much for that update. We look forward to your next drill program, and hopefully with some spectacular results. All the best, and we talk to you soon. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, Wolfgang. Bye-bye.